What's up everyone, I'm Tom, this is Best for Builds, and today we're going to do 4 DIY tools that I actually use in my shop. This isn't stuff that I got on TikTok and said, oh that's cool, let's make a video. This is stuff I actually use. If I'm gonna like clickbait you and exploit you for views, I'm gonna use my dog. That's what I'm gonna do to exploit views. So stay tuned, let's get into it. All right, tool number 1. If you want to call any of these tools, I guess. This is a planer sled, okay? And I use this for milling lumber. I don't have a joiner. I just did a video about that. You should go watch it after this one. I did a video about my planer setup. You should watch that one after that one. Maybe subscribe, that'd be cool. But basically, this is how I get around not having a joiner. Hey, check. Whole head in the trash bag, sorry. But so these sleds right here, you can put an uneven piece on it and you run the whole thing through the joiner or planer. Words are hard today, and it comes out flat, okay? So these are the basic makings of it. You want a piece in the front. It's because the blades are spinning this way and it'll grab the board, pull it off of the sled. This is optional. This is 80 grit sandpaper that I glued to it. Your length is really, you want several lengths, because if you're gonna do a bunch of cutting boards, you don't want an 8-foot long sled, right? That'd just be a lot of wasted time. So get several lengths, and then your width itself is actually dictated by your planer. I have a 13-inch planer, so this is like 12 and 7/8. If you have a 12-inch planer, then you want to do 11 and 7/8. But pretty simple, but game changer of a tool. Use them constantly. So that's number 1. All right, tool number 2 are clamping calls. Now, especially if you have bar clamps, if you haven't invested in expensive parallel clamps, totally get it. But a lot of times when you clamp things, you can bow your board. It's a big problem. So clamping calls really come in to sort of help keep everything flat while it's being clamped. The other thing is, if you're doing like butcher block countertops or cutting boards or something like that with a lot of little pieces, they can really help with alignment. And they are super simple. You don't have to buy the expensive Rockler 4-way clamps. These things really help. But basically, all you're gonna do is you're gonna get some plywood or hardwood, and you're gonna get some Tyvek tape. And essentially, you're just going to sandwich your piece between these 2 cauls, and you just clamp them together, both ends as close to the piece as possible. Now, the reason why I use plywood is because it's cheap and plentiful, and you'll notice that there's 2 pieces laminated together, because plywood this way is kind of bendy. This is 3/4, I'm not going to be able to bend it, but this way, super rigid. You could also use hardwood. I used hickory for years, but essentially, you're going to glue 2 pieces together, and the Tyvek tape is nice because glue would just never stick to it. If you do not use some sort of tape, whether you use Tyvek or something else, I just had this left over from a job, so I used it. Again, I made all this stuff for free. But basically, you just don't want to glue your cauls to your board, or you have a whole new list of problems. And these will also tie into tool number 4, so stick around for that one. Okay, tool number 3 is really simple. I actually saw these on the Wood Whisperer and I had to make them, but basically they're miter clamps. And what you do is you just take a couple blocks of plywood, you cut 1 out of 45, glue and screw them together, and then you put some 80 grit sandpaper on there once again. And what these are designed to do is these clamp to the 2 pieces that you want to glue the miter together, and then you can now clamp the 45s together. And I'm sure I prepared some nice B-roll for you to actually show you how to do this, but there's a lot of ways to clamp miters, and I really do like these. Every time I do countertops or something like that's a huge miter, these are really useful. Highly recommend them. You can build them to any length, any width. These ones are relatively thin because sometimes I'm a trim carpenter by trade. So if I'm doing door casings, window casings, stuff like that, sometimes I use them for that as well. So I've probably made like a dozen of these. I got them all over the shop. So yeah, miter clamps, they really make kind of a pain in the butt, super easy to do, and can't recommend these enough. Thank you, Wood Whisperer. Go check him out. I don't think he needs an introduction, but yeah, so that's tool number 3. Tool number 4, as I said, relates to tool number 2, and that is a glue up station. And the thing that I like about these, if you're going to mass produce something, like specifically cutting boards, so this is kind of what I made these for. I have to do a batch. I hate making them, but if you make them all the time, this is useful. So essentially, what you're going to do, you'll notice that I have some holes drilled with the plywood on edge again, and once again, Tyvek tape. You're going to put all of your pieces on here, balanced between the two. You're going to get them all glued, lined up. Then you take your clamping caul from before, you place it on top, you put a light pressure with your clamp of choice, and essentially what that's going to do is that's going to get all of your pieces nice and aligned on the same plane. You go ahead, you clamp them up. Now that they're clamped up, I can pull them off, pull my future cutting board off, and restart and go again. So these are just, one, it's nice because it gets them upright. I always put like some paper or something underneath it, so as soon as I'm done doing the glue ups, I can get right back to using my assembly table slash outfeed table. Yeah, it's just one of those little dumb things that makes everything nice, quick, and smooth. How to build them, I just took a hole saw on the drill press. You can put as many holes in here as you want. You can make them as wide as you want based off of what you're gluing up the most. I don't know what your business is or your workflow. And then just a little bit of some glue and nails so that you get a nice base so they can sit on. You got a flat table, everything's gonna come up nicely. There you go. It's item number 4. I don't know what to call these. Glue up stations. Self-clamping, glue up. Tell you what, name it in the comments. And that's what we'll call these things. I don't think I invented them, but I've never seen them before. Who the hell knows? All right, so basically, that's it. Nice, short, sweet video this week. Sorry, bud. Jack was down there. So basically, yeah, that's it. That's 4 tools that I actually use on a regular basis, sometimes almost every day. And they cost me $0, which I like. I like saving money, and I like having things that save me time and save me money. So if you got any value out of this whatsoever, please do me a favor, like it, subscribe, leave a comment. I'm really trying to make this YouTube thing into like a thing. So all of that is extremely appreciated. Once again, like, you guys have always been awesome in the comment section. And just stick around. Let me know what else you want to see video wise, and we'll make it happen. All right. Hey, Jack. Come here. Hey, come here. I'm trying to get Jack in the video. Not gonna happen.